The Bible states that believers were first called Christians at Antioch. Before that time, the movement was called the Way, and known among those opposing it as the sect of the Nazarene. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet, said Juliet to Romeo. There are two ways groups of people are named. What other people call them, what they choose to call themselves. I would wonder why an outsider would have an interest in what Jewish believers in Jesus should be called. One accepted designation is Messianic Jews. If obviously is generic in the sense that any Jew who is looking for the Messiah might fit the description, but in common usage, it means a Jewish believer in Yeshua HaMashiach, Hebrew for Jesus Christ. To be fully informational, there are Muslim background people who believe in Jesus as the Christ, but they do not self-identify as Christians, and they do not use the name Jesus. In Arabic, the name is pronounced Isa. These people face the same cultural challenge that Jews who accept the New Testament as truth do, that is, they are subject to sanctions by their communities, even friends and relatives. One way to lessen that burden is to retain much of the culture and model the outward practices to be more in conformity with their community standards. Messianic Jews observe Jewish holidays, keep the Sabbath, and often respect kosher dietary laws. I think it is appropriate for them to choose their own labels, instead of having an ad hoc committee of Jews or Gentiles do it for them. The most standard, accepted term for Jews for Jesus is Messianic Jews. That term is inaccurate, however, because in theory most Jews believe in the possibility of a Messiah, they just don't think he has appeared yet. However, the term Messianic Jews has become well understood. Another, much more ancient term is Ebonite Christian. These were among the first Christians almost 2,000 years ago, when the first Christians had both Jewish and Christian identity. The term, Hebrew, is a little tricky. It sometimes does refer to a practitioner of the ancient Israelite religion, that is, the children of Israel, who worship the God of Abraham and Moses. But Hebrew, above all, refers to a language and a set of scriptures, the Hebrew Bible. The Jews are the primary survivors among this older group, the children of Israel. But they are associated with the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah, after ancient Israel split into two nations, north and south. The northern kingdom, either called Israel or Samaria, was a rival form of the Hebrew religion for a while, until it was mostly annihilated by the Assyrian Empire. So most of the surviving members of the children of Israel are now Jews, and were even by Jesus' time. It is recorded in Acts that the believers in Antioch is where the believers began to be called Christians. The term, Christian, existed already in the Greek translation of the Jewish scriptures. Meaning, you would not be wrong to read the Messiah instead of the Christ. To be clear, the disciples of the New Covenant, Jewish and Gentile, worshipped God and gave honor to the Son of God. The earliest Christians and Jews accepted the sign of Jonah teaching as fulfilled by the events of the burial and resurrection. Today, mainstream Bible-based religious organizations accept the teaching of the Easter doctrine over God's teaching. Emmanuel Jesus already recognized what the phrase, the Christ, would become in time, in place of doctrine.